just assisting people to hand over a Golf 7 GTI to a certain individual. They made a bet. They placed a bet on each other. And this lady just said, Chelsea will beat PSG. And we didn't believe it. Now, we just transferred the car to her. Look, my sister, Cyril Ramaphosa's pathetic family gathering and family meeting, useless and futile. And I just think that we don't have a country.
Good afternoon, Mam Sakin. Commission of Inquiry for Cyril Ramaphosa. Who's sitting on the recommendation of Signimo format? So what about the recommendation of the current Commission of Inquiry? Ramaphosa is thinking that you are the fool. But it's a responsibility of Cyril Ramaphosa to protect the criminals within the ANC, to align himself with the policy of the ANC. Nothing else.
Well, thanks so much for those voice notes. And as I say, your views, not ours. Noel says the judicial inquiry announced yesterday by President Cyril Ramaphosa will yield a similar outcome as the Zondo Commission, and it's the wrong call based on prima facie evidence. I just think that the public will be sedated and tired after 6 months. John Baloy says if a mother wants to kill her child, she will do so, and it doesn't matter how swiftly the police act. Those that are closest to the children are the most effective in killing them, and if they so wish. That's from John Baloy. And Kobe says, I'm so disappointed. I find it difficult for those who will still applaud the president's formation of an inquiry, while historically we know very well it's a waste of our funds. I just wish Minister Mkhwanazi as a whistleblower safety. Also, Commissioner Mkhwanazi, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who's the Provincial Commissioner of Police in KwaZulu-Natal. With that, thank you everybody for tuning in and of course for engaging us. And thanks to the production team for putting it together, making sure it went out loud and clear. It is 1 o'clock. Here's Ondelambana with your latest news.
Thank you, Sakina, and the team on the top stories. ANC welcomes Mkunu's leave of absence, and Jaden Lee Meek's mother charged with murder. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu Mutsiri says President Cyril Ramaphosa acted with courage by placing Minister of Police Senzo Mkunu on a leave of absence. Mutsiri says the ANC are confident a thorough probe will follow after KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi alleged that senior police officials, including Mkunu, had links to criminal syndicates and interfered with police operations. Bengu Mutsiri elaborates.
We are confident that that will actually get us to the bottom of this. It's not a one-hit wonder. It's supposed to be a process that enables us to establish if we are safe and also if the institutions that are linked to the police are operating above board, upholding the oath of office that these South Africans that are working there have taken, an oath. So we think that it is an important, it's a responsible decision. The placing of Minister Mkunu on leave of absence.
Meanwhile, the Mkondo Sizwe Party spokesperson Tlamulo Ndlela says the president disregarded the allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Commissioner of Police Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi about the involvement of the judiciary in the infiltration of law enforcement agencies by criminal syndicates. Ndlela says the political killings task team disbanded by the police minister Senzo Mkunu was effective.
If you look at those political killings, there were 612 dockets, 436 arrested and charged, which demonstrates that this political killings task team has been effective. General Mkhwanazi also then says that the judiciary is implicated, but yet the president wants to then involve the judiciary in forming this commission of inquiry. Commission of inquiry which will then supposedly yield reports on an interim basis, ad hoc basis, and then later in 6 months submitted to the speaker. This is a clear indication that this president is, quite honest, a political and more so a constitutional delinquent.
The case against the Tiffany Meek, the mother of 11-year-old Jaden Lee Meek, has been postponed to this Friday at the Roodepoort Magistrates Court. Meek was arrested on Friday last week for the murder of her son. In May, the little boy was found dead and undressed on the staircase of the complex where he lived. He was found with multiple bruises on his body several hours after he was reported missing after reportedly being dropped off by his scholar transport. Deputy Police Minister Poli Bushielo says more arrests are expected.
31-year-old Tiffany Meek, the mother, is charged for murder, defeating the end of justice, crime and injuria, and obstructing the cause of justice. This is in relation to her own son. That is so sad. We will be following this case closely until there is a successful conviction in this matter. And this matter, we cannot rule out the possibility of more arrests as investigations into the murder of Dailene continues.
Community leaders from Vliehof and Roodepoort say they too believe 11-year-old Jaden Lee Meek's mother did not act alone. Community leader Rayona Kutia says she believes that more family members are going to be arrested.
I do believe that this person was not alone. So I think we're not happy yet. This is just the start of, because we're still going to hear what happened to this child, and I think the other arrests will probably shock more people. Look, some of us are not even shocked that this specific person was arrested because we all did our own little investigations. We were all unqualified investigators, but we need the others to be arrested, and you know what? It's painful because it's not going to bring this child back.
Police say they have seized 2 unlicensed guns at a house that is alleged to be used as a storage for firearms and ammunition in Bishop Levis on the Cape Flats. Police spokesperson Joseph Swartboy says officers from the anti-gang unit were deployed to Bishop Levis following the gunning down of 4 people.
Pursued information of a possible storage facility where firearms are being kept for a known gang grouping. They approached and entered the premises in Tafelberg Road and commenced with a search of the property. Their tenacity were rewarded when they recovered 2 firearms with ammunition and in the process detained a 20-year-old man for the possession of prohibited firearms and ammunition.
Britain's meteorological office has warned that heat and rainfall records are being broken with increasing frequency in the UK, with impact including the loss of wildlife and higher flood risks. Its annual report says the changing patterns mean the UK sea level is rising faster than the global average. The BBC's Justin Rowlatt has the details.
The country's changing weather patterns mean the UK now experiences a notably different climate to what it did just a few decades ago, says the Met Office's Mike Kendon, the lead author of this new study. We're getting many more very hot days and many fewer extremely cold nights. The country is getting wetter too. Rainfall patterns are more variable than for temperature, but 2024 saw the wettest winter half year in over 250 years.
Recapping the top story, ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu-Mutsiri says President Cyril Ramaphosa acted with courage by placing Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu on a leave of absence. I'm on Delambana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
Hey, Temba, how do I check if I've been auto-assessed by SARS?
No need to stress at all. Go to the SARS online query system dashboard, SOX. It only takes a few minutes.
Really? Where do I find it?
Go to the SARS website and then look for the SOX dashboard icon. Make tax matters your priority number 1. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
Champions need motivation above and beyond winning. South Africa, show your love and support for the WAFCON defending champions by Yana. Witness the Cap Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024 from 5 to 26 July 2025 on SABC Plus, S3, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
SABC News turns 75 on July the 17th, 2025.
Since the dawn of democracy, SABC News has grown into your trusted source for news and current affairs, shaping our nation and the world for the past 75 years.
From July 12th to the 17th, SAFM Current Affairs presents exclusive interviews with iconic presenters, producers, and news leaders.
We're exploring the legacy of SABC News, highlighting the voices that have defined our story.
Join SAFM for a week of compelling reports and unforgettable moments.
SABC News at 75.
Independent and impartial. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Do you realize nothing can ever be right until we choose to make it right? We can be the reason why. We can keep a hope alive. We can be the right ones for the task. We've been the missing part. So illuminate your light, starting with your own smile. You can be the spark. You can start the fire. Stop hiding in the dark. Don't be overcome. You have the right to choose your vibe. Step into the light. You can be the light. Never hide your mind. Let it shine bright. Feel the joy inside. You can be the light. Oh, let it shine bright. That feeling in your heart. let there be light. And if your world is a dark place tonight, then you can bring the light from right within your heart. So illuminate your light. Don't be overcome. Stop hiding in the darkness. You can be the light. You can be the light. Ever hide your light. Let it shine bright. Yeah. Feel the joy inside. You can be the light. Oh, let it shine bright. That feeling in your heart. You can be the light. Oh, 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 you can be the light, yeah. You can be the light. Oh, you can be. You can be. You can be the light. Oh, you can be the light. Oh, let to kaya, 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 let to
Let there be light. Is it sunlight? Is it sunshine? Is it moonlight? Is it starlight? What do we need as a nation? I think this song is going to resonate for the longest time. And I'm saying this in relation to what is happening right before our eyes. So President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday placed Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave after accusations of sabotaging a probe into political killings. And this has been going on for weeks now. And the police are supposed to make us feel safe. Just saying. But anyway, welcome to the Full Circle. It's not about that today. It's all about feel good. Let's find opportunities and let's talk about, issues that can help build the nation. Starting off with hashtag Work Monday, a look into special leave and when it is most appropriate to put in place. And we're going to be speaking to Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director, Dubazana Attorneys, as well as Mike Bargrain, Member of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour. Actually, last night I was asked a question. When someone is placed on special leave, do they still get paid? And we've had individuals that have been put on special leave and they've been on that leave for like 6 months, 3 years, and they still get paid. But this afternoon we get to unpack and we get to talk about it. Always use our WhatsApp line, which is 0614104107, because we will be really delving into that issue for quite some time. And hopefully we'll come up with an answer to that big question. Also coming up, opportunities. Hashtag opportunity. The Youth Employment Service, YES, explains how the recent integration of YES into South African Renewable Energy Master Plan, SAREM, will benefit the youth. And we'll be speaking to the CEO of the Youth Employment Service, that's Ravi Naidu, a bit later on. Also, the second hour of the show, hashtag Career Corner, study abroad scams. Woo! This is a big one. Why it is crucial to verify before you fly. Tumi Nkosi will be chatting to us, that's education expert. And then, of course, Lemon Nkosi, project manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute, will join us for the Nimble Agri-Farm Explorer
for Mandela Day sponsors 67 young agri-leaders. The excursion is a sample version of the Nimble Explorer program. That's all coming up on The Full Circle.
Temba, how do I check if I've been auto-assessed by SARS?
No need to stress at all. Go to the SARS online query system dashboard, SOX. It only takes a few minutes.
Really? Where do I find it?
Go to the SARS website and then look for the SOX dashboard icon. Make tax matters your priority number one. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
They both have a rich history of glory. Amakosi tackle the Porcupine Warriors.
This is as good as it gets.
This is the Toyota Cup.
The game you've been looking forward to on your football calendar.
Giants refuse to fall.
The big game.
The big game. On Saturday, 26 July at 2:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus across the entire African continent and SABC One. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport in proud partnership with Kaizer Chiefs Football Club.
This Mandela Month, Nelson Mandela once said,
"We have traveled a long journey. We have fought for peace and reconciliation, for social justice, for all men, women, and children."
SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And starting off with a big question. What is the purpose of special leave and when is it the most appropriate option? So many different leaves that we apply for. I'm sure if you've been in the workforce, you can actually, you can relate. Fertility treatment, leave, time off to visit relatives abroad, leave. You lose a family member, you request leave, jury service, court attendance leave, domestic, personal reasons leave, so many different types. What do they mean? What are the implications? But to join us to unpack, I do have Member of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour, and this being triggered by what transpired yesterday when the President, when our President Cyril Ramaphosa placed Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave. But also I do have Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director Dubazana Attorneys, to also join us in this conversation. Starting off with Mike, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And it's a topic that's keeping most of South Africa on the edge of their seats.
Absolutely. So we know that, one key difference is, that there's what is known as administrative leave, which could be involuntary or voluntary by the employees. But this afternoon, we just want to understand the differences. What are the differences between leave and suspension?
Okay, well, you're not talking about an employment situation. You're talking about the executive that serves at the president's pleasure. In other words, President Ramaphosa can hire and fire at will. He's not governed by any of our labor laws, any of our special administrative law at all. It's completely alien to the situation in which we find ourselves on this occasion. And it's pleasant words. Instead of saying we are suspending you, which is the same thing in reality, he said, because there's no proof yet other than the statement by the general. There's no proof of wrongdoing, and all the president was trying to do is to say that you're going to go on special leave, so it doesn't sort of paint him in a bad light to South Africa, because we've all heard the press release and the press conference held by the general from KwaZulu-Natal. And immediately on hearing that, and I'm one of those people, I sat glued to my chair listening to this, thinking, my gosh, I've never heard anything so hectic. And it really painted the minister, some senior politicians, and many other senior policemen in a really bad light. But of course, the president has to be quite cautious. He can, of course, say to the minister, look, you fired, cheers. and there's no comeback on that. So the reality is that what the president did was actually quite pleasant. He said, listen, I'm placing you on special leave. He'll receive all his pay. Nothing will suspend at all. His pension, medical aid, everything remains absolutely intact. And we'll investigate and we'll make a decision whether he wants. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do any of that. He could say, like I said, he could just say, cheers, you're out of here. You can see the front door, go. And that could be at a minute's notice, and there's no comeback. We've seen that with the dismissal of Deputy Minister Whitfield, 2 weeks ago, where he just said cheers in the letter. That's enough, cheers. So he could do that, but I think this is a much better way of doing it. It's a minister. It's a senior person in South African discourse. It's a very not only senior person, but an individual, a human being. So I think it's nicer that it's happened this way. And now he says, I'm going to now investigate whether there's any guilt or not, whether there's any veracity to the claims made against you. He doesn't need to do it, like I keep saying, but he's done it, and I think that's a better way, a more humane way of doing it. And I think we're slowly moving into an era of, before there's recourse, let me see if there's any guilt. And I respect the president for that. What I'm unhappy about is he's going to appoint a whole panel, he's going to have 6 months, and it's going to cost a fortune for the panel. I don't know how many millions are rands for that. I think that's all, at the moment, conjecture. But I'm very unhappy that we're seeing another one of those. It's almost like a Lachotla being set up to see if there's any allegations or any of them are veracity. The interesting thing is that Professor Feroz Kachalia, who's going to be, from the 1st of August, going to be chairing this commission of inquiry, actually sent in a properly researched report 3 years ago to the presidency about wrongdoing and about maladministration in the police force. It's really weird, but this has all come out now. I didn't know that it existed. Of course, now I'm hearing that this report was sent in, and for some reason or other, the president just sat on it and did nothing about it. At least now it's jogged his memory and said, actually, you know what? This report told me about, if the president actually read it, I hope he did, but if he actually read the report from Professor Kachalia, from Wits University, and with a team, quite a robust and highly educated team, they said that the police force was rotten in the upper ranks. And this is exactly what's come out now. The president must be kicking himself, saying, subsequent to that report, I chose this man as head of my police force. They should have rung some bells. So literally, yes, I happen to be a labour lawyer, and I'm telling you, it's got nothing to do with our labour law.
So literally, it has taken 3 years for what was meant to have been recommendations back then to come to the fore so that they can be implemented. But in the meantime, we are still going to go through a phase where another committee has been appointed, and that committee then has to come up with some more recommendations, and hoping that those recommendations will be implemented. But then I would like to also introduce my other guest, Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director Dubazana Attorneys. And thank you for joining us. So Good afternoon. When is it appropriate to use special leave as a tool, and how does it differ from suspension?
So, like my fellow guest is saying, this matter, particularly with regard to the president, really doesn't have much to do with labor law. But, when it comes to the directive on special leave in the General Public Service Sectorial, which is basically what the minister is, he is in public service, the Bargaining Council gave directives on to how special leave would be assessed and used in different criteria. One of which would be the one that is currently happening, which is that a committee or inquiry is going to be held, and then the person who is at the center of it or is involved in it is not necessarily deemed to be away from work, but they are deemed to have to be dealing with things that need to be attended to. That is why the the suspension or special leave, I beg your pardon, would then amount to this person being paid because they're not being removed from their duties, quote unquote, in terms of what they're supposed to do. They are just being put in a category that they need to deal with in terms of this particular directive. So this directive deals specifically with the different subheadings on how special leave could be attended to in terms of the public sector.
And I'm going to be taking our news headlines in just a few seconds, but also maybe let me just ask, coming back to you, Mike, how different, if at all, is special leave for a political head as a minister to that of an employee in a company?
Well, it's very different because the reality is you've got a minister that is there at the pleasure of the president. So he's using the words from the bargaining council, and I think basically to soften the blow and protect the integrity at the moment of the minister, because we don't know if the minister's done anything wrong at this stage. And I think there's a certain amount of a reluctance from the way the president has worded it to actually create that wrong in his own mind. He's reluctant. He obviously trusts his Minister of Police. That's why I appointed him in the first place. And he's saying, well, I'm hearing the allegations, but I'm not so sure I believe them. And I'm trying to delve into the presidential mind, which is always difficult and maybe perilous. But what I'm trying to say is he didn't need to do any of this. And in our labor law, it's vastly different. In other words, if the person's employed by the state and subject to that bargaining council agreement, then you would say we don't want to accuse you of anything at this stage, but there is an allegation. We don't want you to interfere as a witness, and so therefore what we're going to do is keep everything intact. We don't stop paying your medical aid. We don't stop paying your pension. We don't take you off any of our systems at all. They might actually stop him getting into his email at this point because you don't want him to see what the investigation is happening, and you don't want to in any way curtail your proper investigation. You also want to assure other staff that the man is not going to interfere.
Mike, we're just going to take a small break, go to headlines, but also I'd like to open the lines. That's 086 2032. Also send your voice notes, make them audible and clear. That's 061 410 4107. Your views and how you are also taking in this information of the different types of leave, and maybe you've experienced where you've been suspended and what has been your experience in that regard. Let's just go to headlines with Ondela. We'll be back.
Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, the South African Social Security Agency has so far flagged about 210,000 grant beneficiaries who are not eligible to receive social grants. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu Mutsiri says President Cyril Ramaphosa acted with courage by placing Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu on a leave of absence, and Cameroon's 92-year-old leader Paul Biya has confirmed that he'll run again in October's presidential election. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
And I'm speaking to my two guests. That's Mike Bahrain, Member of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour, as well as Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director, Dubazana Attorneys. And we're just trying to unpack and understand what is special leave, what is suspension, what you're entitled to. So employees are granted leave of absence outside their regular paid time. That's time off, entitlements for a specific reason or circumstance. Special leave's exact definition and conditions can vary depending on the company or organization's policies and the laws and regulations in the country or region where the employee is based. So it all differs. But also would like to hear your experiences, or maybe you've been an individual who's been on suspension for more than six months, maybe 3 years. Is that the rule of the game? How does it work? And I'm also trying to understand. I'm also learning this afternoon, and with my experts, hopefully we'll be able to unpack quite a number of issues. Welcome back, Mike. I did interject when you were, explaining a bit earlier on. I don't know whether you can continue with that trail of thought.
I certainly can. The bottom line is, and I've had experience with this I'm also happen to be acting as an attorney. I have a labor law practice. I'll give you an anecdotal example. A teacher telephoned me, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, a teacher from Gauteng telephoned me. She was teaching in Soweto. She had an altercation with a fellow teacher. It landed up in a fisticuffs, and they were both suspended from the school. And they were getting paid. There was going to be an ostensible investigation into this, who started, who hit who, and all that sort of thing. She had phoned me 3 years after, actually 3.5 years after she had actually been suspended. Getting full pay, she also got her bonuses and increases each year, and her Christmas gift each year. And it had been going on for 3.5 years, and no communication whatsoever. Sitting at home, and he had phoned me, and I said, why are you phoning me? And she said, well, she'd actually been offered a job at another school, and not only is she getting bored, but she never hears from him. She's feeling sort of almost spare. Can she take the other job? So I said, well, you can resign and take the other job, but you're getting your full salary. She said, yes, she is, but this is getting a bit ridiculous. I then tried a little bit of investigation to find out, and in fact, the HR at that particular department basically couldn't find the records of these two teachers that had been put on suspension. I mean, it sounds bizarre, but that's what happened. I got back to her and I said, you know what? You can't waste your whole life. You're a young lady. She was 40 years old. She was a career teacher. She didn't believe she was guilty. I said, but just resign and take the other job and finish, which is what she did. She took the job in the private sector and went on with her life. She did contact me about 4 months after she had resigned to say that they had contacted her and wanted her to come to a disciplinary inquiry. What should she do then? And I would say, no, sorry, here's my letter that I sent in to the department resigning, and I'm now not getting involved in this. They never got hold of her again. Wow. What I'm trying to say is that gets more and more bizarre when you see what happens in the state. It doesn't happen like that in with the private practice. It doesn't happen like that in normal companies. Our attorney online will be able to tell us what actually happens. Because they don't keep people on suspension for very long because it's costing you. They also don't keep it for very long because the witnesses die, they disappear, they forget the story, all that. But somehow the civil service is not that inclined, and they don't mind wasting the public money.
I have 3 voice notes. I'm just going to play them back to back, and then I'll come back. I'll come back to you, Ntabiseng. That's Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director, Dubazana Attorneys. And also maybe you can then help me also unpack the different types of leaves like bereavement, fertility, and domestic and personal reasons, jury service, court attendance, what that entails. Let's just go to voice notes.
Hi, this is Daniel Joshua telling my view and opinion as far as special leave is concerned. I believe if people are giving special leave, they get the full salary, the full benefits, they're on holiday, plus they can even do additional job and get additional income as well. And with the result, if they're found guilty, they have still benefited already from what they have got for the 6 months or a year or 2. And I believe as far as the minister is concerned, he should have been suspended without pay. And then you get another commission now, and there goes the taxpayers, the ratepayers' money that is being used to pay the commission. And then nothing is being done like the Zondo Commission. Thank you, and God bless you.
Question is this one. Actually, for this having this allegation, why he never first arrest the minister And then because he got all the allegations against the minister, and then the case will be solved while minister is in court. Because Minister Ntantanene has all the rights to arrest him.
Actually, the president is really acting more on the minister's human rights and justice, because at this stage he has not been charged, but he's still awaiting to be, as it were, appear in court and be proven guilty. So that's a very good principle. That.
Well, I just have to correct our voice note. I'm sure you meant Mukwanazi, not Nene. But anyway, bless you to our first voice note where you sneezed there. When nature calls, nature calls. Coming back to you, Ntabiseng, what's your take?
My take on the voice notes?
Yes, your take on the voice notes, number one. And also maybe if you could just take just a few of the leaves that one can take.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I didn't hear them properly. There was a little bit of a muffle on my side with regard to the voice notes, so I can't really speak much to what was said. But when it comes to different kinds of leave, when it comes to the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, I beg your pardon, we are entitled, or employees are entitled to your annual leave, your sick leave, your maternity leave, and also now paternity leave. If you recall, about a year and a half ago, if not two, there was an application by this one couple wherein the wife was self-employed and the husband was formally employed. And now when the wife eventually gave birth, when they determined and looked at their personal circumstances, they then determined that no, the wife taking time off from the business may fail. So the agreement was that dad will then take more time off from work to stay at home with the child. But at the time, dad could only take up to 7 days, I believe it was, for paternity leave. And now, as a result, that court order now said that the maternity leave that is entitled to, because usually deemed from between 4 months to 6 months maternity leave, it can be shared between the parties as and how they please. So that was an amazing ruling in terms of the labor court and in terms of paternity leave. So now dads can also take 3 months if they wish to stay at home and raise their newly born child. Also, there's other types of leave which include special leave, and special leave in terms of our law, the Basic Conditions of the Employment Act, is also at the discretion of the employer. So it can be something that you guys, as the employee, will come and see your employer and say, this is not covered within the basic conditions. So it's not with regard to a funeral, it's not maternity, it's not any sort of leave. And sometimes it may be that you're out of leave days in any event, but this is an emergency that you require. And then you can have an agreement with your employer that you will have a special leave, and the terms of which can be agreed upon between yourself and the employer. So those are the kinds of things that you're entitled to as an employee. So your leave credits, they can range anywhere from 19 days, I believe, 19 days leave up to 24 days per year for leave. And these are the things that you are entitled to. Your employer, of course, also has the right to say, based on our current workflow, based on the current situation we have at the workplace, maybe somebody is not present and they are ill, and therefore if you take leave, it's going to cost the company a little bit of money, or it's going to cause that we do not work the way we should. They can deny you leave, but only for you to take it at a later stage.
We're going to take a small break. When we come back, let's talk about special leave for public duties.
The Black Queens are chasing maximum points, but the Twiga Stars have a different plan about this contest. The continent is divided into two, the West and the East. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Ghana versus Tanzania on Monday, 14 July at 8:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. Temba, How do I check if I've been auto-assessed by SARS?
No need to stress at all. Go to the SARS online query system dashboard, SOX. It only takes a few minutes.
Really? Where do I find it?
Go to the SARS website and then look for the SOX dashboard icon. Make tax matters your priority number one. Go to sars.gov.za and say goodbye to queues. SARS, at your service.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Hey, good afternoon, Peter. How is Senzo Mkhunu different from Nomqobo Jiba and Mkhwebu? Because it's the same situation, but he is just giving a leave outside of his portfolio, not suspended. Those two were suspended before the inquiry. Why Senzo Mkhunu is different? This factionalism in ANC will kill it. In coming elections, it's gonna go down to probably 17%, because there's always this factionalism. Thank you, Peter. Is VK from Durban.
This is Reverend George Malabati from Foundation of Peace and Human Rights and Dignity and Justice. So actually, it has nothing to do whether the president supports the minister or takes the side of anybody. It's a very non-partisan action to say somebody is innocent until proven guilty. So let's prove the minister guilty, then let's see a rest of everything just following suit to show that he was found guilty. Now the law will have to be applied in that situation again.
I'm telling you, I'm so limited for time. But coming back to you, Ntabiseng, we were talking about, the special leave. I'm talking special leave for public duties. How does that one work? Let's say you're being called to be a witness in a court of law. What then happens?
Or in that situation, you're not deemed to be on leave. It's not a situation where it should be deducted. It's also in terms of this directive from the bargaining council. So what would happen that's usually in the public sector. In the private sector, it would be a position where you would inform your employer that I have this duty, I have to go give evidence and etc. And then if you are going to be there the whole day and you don't go back to work, the employer can deduct it as a full day leave. Alternatively, if you happen to give evidence in the morning and you're done by 11 and you're back in the office to continue working, that can be an agreement between yourself and the employer to say that I wasn't on leave, but here is proof from the court that I was there. So what happens is that when you go to court, the clerk of the court will fill in a document that they have usually on their desk that you did appear in court, whatever, and then you gave evidence under case number so and so, and then they hand that to you for you to give to the employer, so that you're not being given unpaid leave or anything to that effect.
I've got a WhatsApp that just came in. It says, my son worked at a municipality, but when he refused to authorize a claim for the work, which was not done, he was suspended with pay for a year, then dismissed for insubordination. The Labour Court kept on postponing the case until his funds were depleted. 5 years down the line, the Labour Court never gave him a date. So hard to work in the ANC-led government. That's Matari in I think it's in Gauteng. And I think in wrapping up, maybe let me start off with, let me wrap up with you, Ms. Ntabiseng, and then I'll come to you, Mike.
So when it comes to labor relations, I think, and especially when you're going to refer a matter to either the CCMA and then alternatively it goes straight to the Labour Court for a review application, the public needs to be aware that there are certain rules that need to be followed as a result. Giving an example with that WhatsApp you just read, it is not the Labour Court that is postponing. It is the litigants that are probably doing certain interlocutory applications, so applications within the application, that are delaying the process. Remember, they have to get transcripts from either the bargaining council or the CCMA, that they need to refer to the labor court. So you need an attorney to assist you with these things. As a lay person, you will not know at what stage you should object to certain things. So you need somebody who's going to be there to assist you. So I would always advise that when you are now given a notice by your employer, for example, that you're either going to be put on suspension or you're going to go on a disciplinary inquiry, they usually give you 48 hours. They should actually give you 48 hours for you to prepare yourself for this. Go and seek legal advice so that you know what it is you're supposed to prepare yourself for. And if you are suspended for more than 25 days, you need to know why, because there's so much case law that talks about suspension not being a reason for the delay of somebody's life, and therefore you need to know what it is you're supposed to do instead of waiting for so long until you're called for a disciplinary inquiry.
Ntabi Singh, Dubazana Director, Dubazana Attorneys, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Mike Bargrain, Member of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour. Mike, I've only got like literally 30 seconds or maybe 40 seconds if I can stretch it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, Daniel who phoned in is quite right. You go on full salary, you've got benefits. So I must also tell him that you also accrue leave whilst you're on special leave. So that'll be interesting as well. And then second caller, you can't arrest someone on an allegation, not like that, and you wouldn't do that in these circumstances. And the third caller said the president's taking into account his human rights. Yes, that's exactly what the president's doing, because he doesn't need to take into account anything he could dismiss immediately. Also, the fourth caller said non-partisan and not guilty at this stage. Absolutely correct. That's why the president wants the investigation. And finally, the person who phoned in about their son for insubordination, yes, that's correct, and they should have actually had it heard properly. I don't know why it's been taking so long. And finally, if you are going to take special leave, don't wait till afterwards to tell your employer why you got that. Rather get the subpoena, send it to your employer that you have to appear in court. Here's the subpoena. I'll get you a document thereafter to show I was there. But the bottom line is the suspension of the minister now was at the president's pleasure. He decided to do that. He's not bound by any rules or regulations. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so very much for joining us today.
WAFCON reigning champions Banyana believe they can deliver 3 points to the people of the South. Meanwhile, the West Africans, Mali, have a big task to wrap up their run in Group C with a win. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. South Africa tackles Mali on Monday, 14 July at 9 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus and S3. Also available on SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store, or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
What is your take on what was said?
I support Dr. Letabe wholeheartedly. And very funny today, or let me put it this way, everybody who gets their salary from the fiscus, that means from the public service, they are entitled to subsidies on their medical aid to use private hospitals. And that subsidy is 70 billion rand, starting with the president. If there's a policy that they must all use public hospitals, that 70 billion will immediately accrue to the public hospitals and will be able to improve them. If I can tell you what I can do with 70 billion rand, you'll understand exactly why I'm agreeing.
Minister Aaron Matsoleni.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. You are listening to The Full Circle.
And something positive, #opportunity for the youth. So the Youth Employment Service, yes, states the urgent need to find a way of transitioning young people from being spectators to active participants in the economy. How can this be achieved? Well, we'll get to find out from CEO of the Youth Employment Service, that's Ravi Naidu, joining us online. Ravi, good to have you on the show.
Very good to be with you, Bertha.
Thank you so much for making time. So this is actually quite exciting. Look, the country is just marred with so much negativity. This is a really feel-good story. Tell us about the work and the mandate of Youth Employment Service and how you interface with the youth.
Okay, no, thanks. So it's a public-private partnership, and it's been going quite well over the last few years. So the last 4 years, it's been growing by 28% a year on average. So 190,000 people have been funded entirely by the private sector. It's 1,800 companies. They get incentives if they do it. So it's become the biggest youth employment program funded by the private sector in the world. And obviously, the name of the game here is how many of those youth will go on to be important professionals in key sectors or set up their own businesses and so on. So it's something that was started a few years ago, and after COVID, it's really grown quite strongly, as I say, 28% a year. And now it's beginning to be positioned to back key sectors, sort of future-facing sectors for the country. So you're getting, talented people, but from very disadvantaged backgrounds, so they would never get the chance otherwise. But now they can come in and be, get their first jobs in key sectors and hopefully grow with those sectors and sort of help the country to achieve economic growth going forward.
You also note key insights from the recent 11th edition of the Risk Report by the Institute of Risk Management. And it's quite insightful to see the transition of people from dependency on the government, having 28 million people depending on social grants. That is totally unsustainable. I mean, you don't even need a brain surgeon to tell you that. Maybe if you could unpack the 11th edition of the Risk Report for us.
Yes, so obviously, we got to think about long-term systemic risk for the country, and then one of the risks is from a sustainability point of view, how do you grow a country? How do you future-proof a country? It's not so. Social grants are very important, of course, and it's a good thing that South Africa has it. But the idea is social grants are also meant to be things that give you sort of a capability-based income, but then you go out and you find a job, right? So social grants are not something you do instead of having a job. It's to help people to have the income to maybe go search for work and so on. The problem is if so many people are dependent on social grants and not enough are getting their first jobs. So that's where the danger is, because obviously every social grant is paid for by the taxpayers, and the taxpayers, there must be a tax base. You must be generating revenue to pay those taxes. And I think that's the challenge we have as a country is we need to start graduating people out of social grants and those households, being able to have people in the households who are earning, decent salaries in the economy and things with careers. So I think that is a risk the country faces. No country of our size has this percentage of people unemployed. And therefore it's unsustainable. And we really have to go very fast in terms of shifting gears, in terms of youth unemployment at least.
You've got quite a big number of youth jobs that were created, contributing, 11 billion rand in youth salaries, 45% of alumni employed. That's huge. So let's talk about the integration then of YES into South African Renewable Energy Master Plan. How does this open up opportunities to deal with youth unemployment?
So as I say, the thing which is interesting is that YES is now, because of its scale, it's able to have partnerships with particular sectors that are on the cutting edge. So in April this year, the South African Renewable Sector Master Plan was approved by Cabinet. And it's the first, and we have a number of sector master plans, which really are what is our long-term plan to grow a key sector. So obviously renewables is a very important thing, that the sector, because we have to get out of load shedding. But beyond that now, South Africa can become a real global player in making, the technology for renewables, because the whole world has to go into a green transition, particularly with renewables. So can we, from our troubles, having learned the hard lessons, and we've built a 25,000 megawatt renewable sector, and it has to double still. So we can build a lot of capacity internally. So this is the first sector where they said, look, they really want to be very explicit about the inclusion of youth participation as a measurable requirement in the sector. So they want 75% of all the new jobs to be youth, and obviously working with the ES as a verifiable program to get young people into the sector, and they can grow, in terms of building and maintaining wind turbines and solar technologies and batteries. So they got a whole range of technology we're trying to build in the country and also maintain. And how do we ensure we have a talent pipeline, a workforce that can go in there and then hopefully, actually create an export market for ourselves as well. So that's the first sector where they've actually built youth participation in their strategy as part of long-term capabilities.
And then how do you then evaluate?
And I think that's very important because, South Africa does have probably, hundreds of youth strategies and programs, but you have to have programs that are verifiable. In other words, it's like you're saying, if someone goes into a program, you're tracking the alumni. Where are they now 3 years after the program? How many of them have gone on in the sector or set up their own business? So you have to have a verifiable program. So yes, it is the most verifiable program because it's built with an incentive. So companies must prove that they've done it. So I think that's why this SARM, the Renewable Sector Master Plan, is adopted. Yes, it's because of the verifiable nature of the program, where you can track the youth, you track the impact, and then you can go back and say, look, this part of the program was working really well. Let's do more of that. This part didn't work so well as we thought. We will do less of that. So it's always important whenever we do implementation programs, you have to measure the outcome and verify those.
And for more information, where do we go?
You can go to www.yes4youth, that's the number 4.coza.
Ravi Naidu, CEO of the Youth Employment Service, chatting to us this afternoon. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. And it's time for news.
Thank you, Bertha. On the top stories, over 200,000 SASSA beneficiaries flagged and MK party march in support of Mkhwanazi. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. The South African Social Security Agency has so far flagged about 210,000 grant of beneficiaries who are not eligible to receive social grants. The agency is conducting a social grant review process. Speaking during a media briefing in Pretoria today, SASSA Chief Executive Officer Themba Matlo said review process is to ensure that only eligible beneficiaries receive grants. The agency has not suspended or halted any unqualified beneficiaries yet. According to Mutlo, these reviews are essential to ensure that every person receiving a social grant remains eligible based on their current circumstances. He says beneficiaries are notified when their grants are due for review and has encouraged full cooperation to avoid any disruptions in payments.
Where individuals continue to receive grants despite being listed on the payroll systems, could be private or public. This has been done to safeguard the integrity of social assistance system, to ensure that only eligible beneficiaries receive support, preventing fraud and misuse of public funds, such as undertaking the social grant review process for the better good of the government fiscus, thus ensuring that grants are paid to eligible beneficiaries and all fraudulent elements are rooted out.
ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu Mutsiri says President Cyril Ramaphosa acted with courage by placing Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu on a leave of absence. Mutsiri says the ANC are confident a thorough probe will follow after KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi alleged that senior police officials, including Mchunu, had links to criminal syndicates and interfered with police operations. Bengu Mutsiri elaborates.
We are confident that that will actually get us to the bottom of this. It's not a one-hit wonder. It's supposed to be a process that enables us to establish if we are safe and also if the institutions that are linked to the police are operating above board, upholding the oath of office that these South Africans that are working there have taken, an oath. So we think that it is an important, it's a responsible decision. The placing of Minister Mkhunu on leave of absence.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party has staged a march to the Gauteng Provincial Police Headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The party says they want to save the country from so much crime and corruption that is happening. Over a week ago, Mkhwanazi made serious allegations against several high-profile individuals within policing, including the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu. This resulted in President Cyril Ramaphosa putting Mchunu on special leave. MK Party Provincial Commander in Gauteng, Jafta Khole, says there were laid criminal charges against the alleged individuals.
There are 3 individuals whom we came to open a case against. The one is Mr. Brown Mokgotsi. The one who's a civilian is not a policeman, but he's in the position of sensitive intelligence reports. It means he's running the state in a rogue way. And Lieutenant Sibia for defeating the ends of justice by interfering and disbanding without the acknowledgement of the National Commission who's supposed to be doing the work. The Minister Senzo for giving instruction on operational matters and lying in Parliament to say it does not know Brian Mokgotsi.
Police have seized drugs with an estimated street value of 54.3 million rand in Goodwood. Police spokesperson Malcolm Boye says 2 suspects were arrested when police searched a house and found heroin and TIG. The 2 suspects are due to appear in the Goodwood Magistrates Court tomorrow.
The members extended the search to another bedroom where they found 100 grams of heroin with an estimated street value of about 16,000 rand, which led to the arrest of a 28-year-old Burundi national for the possession of drugs. While processing the suspects, the members received further information of more drugs hidden at the residence. The members expanded the search, leading to the discovery of 145 kg of TIG and 16 kg of heroin found in the roof of the residence. The estimated street value is 53.3 million, bringing the total value of discovery to 54.3 million rand.
Cameroon's 92-year-old leader Paul Biya has confirmed that he'll run again in October's presidential election. His announcement in a social media post and speculation over whether he would attempt to extend his more than 4-decade rule, the BBC's Paul Dia reports.
President Paul Biya said his decision to seek re-election followed numerous and insistent calls from within and outside the country. In a statement, he touted what he called success in ensuring the security and well-being of Cameroonians over the years, while admitting that much still needs to be done to address the nation's challenges. Although he has now broken his silence, his performance in the polls might face challenges in the vote-rich northern regions, where key political allies recently ended their partnerships with the ruling CPDM party.
Recapping the top story, the South African Social Security Agency has so far flagged about 210,000 grant beneficiaries who are not eligible to receive social grants. I'm Mondela Mbana for SAFM News Headlines at 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
My name is Amukhelang Mutau, Banyana midfielder. What I love about SABC Sport, you guys have managed to capture women's football stories because I think documentation is important.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
You are listening to SAFM Radio this Mandela Month.
It is in your hands now.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Kirile Eretamaya Korosalantwana Mfana se hawa kariti Mwabati ala maranda bana
What a beautiful track. Mposebine Chwele. And welcome to the second part of the show. This is the Full Circle. Talking about career, #Career Corner, studying abroad. And many of us lately have been looking for opportunities abroad, and a lot of people now are well informed and they would like to tap into different countries, study in different countries, so that your experience is vast. So, but what comes with it are scams. Studying abroad can also come with challenges. Why it is crucial to verify whatever institution you've identified or whatever place of education you've identified before flying, you have to do due diligence. Scams targeting international students are on the rise lately, and the stats are even harder, or the tactics rather. They are very hard to spot. You don't even know. Why does this keep happening? Students under pressure to secure admission or a visa, often relying on unverified agents, social media ads, fast-track deals. It happens on a daily basis. That's exactly where scammers operate, posing as consultants, sponsors, and even fake universities. And there's actually one, because Canada has been taking people for the longest time. So you get all these agents that just flood your inbox saying, your verification is waiting for you. Please press this button or send this information. Your verification or job opportunities are open. And that can really come with tricky situations. So the dream of studying abroad is the ambition of many bright and deserving South African students seeking to reach new academic heights, experience cultural immersion, and pursue the chance to build a future internationally. Yet, that's the thing, this aspiration can very easily come crashing down as a result of scammers who exploit ambition with sophisticated fraudulent schemes that can drain finances and shatter your hopes. So to join us to unpack, I've got Tumi Nkosi, education expert, to maybe also help us navigate and find means and ways where you can then exercise your due diligence. Tumi, good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Bertha. Good afternoon to you and a happy Monday to the listeners. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time. Now, this is happening quite a lot where students are getting scammed. Why does this keep happening?
Well, two things. I think we are experiencing an unfortunate convergence of opportunity seekers and opportunistic predators on the same ground. And in South Africa, we are seeing it increasingly. It's not just the only area, but increasingly within higher education, for the simple fact that, unfortunately, in South Africa, we've got excess demand. We've got more people that are wanting to get higher education placement, and we don't have enough spaces, as was mentioned in the media at the start of the year. So going international is no longer just a bougie or a rich person's thing to do. It can mean the difference between life and death, because if you can't find opportunities to study in South Africa, then by default you're going to be looking elsewhere. And it is this high demand that is driving additional activity of scamming within higher education. It's a convergence of opportunity and opportunism.
So let's talk about the common scams. How can one identify these common scams?
So there's a couple of common ones, and I will go through them quickly. The first will be university impersonation, where you get an email that seemingly appears to be coming from a legitimate and well-known international university. Typically, they would use well-known universities from the West, the likes of the United States or North America. You've mentioned Canada, as well as from Europe and Asia. You also get this increasing activity in what we call program impersonation, where you would get an international institution that might not be well known, but their image on social media and digitally looks so good, and you really want to do a computer science degree or an MBA, and they look like they are legitimate. So program impersonation, offering programs that don't exist from institutions that also don't exist. Then you also get your typical ones that you might expect in the form of funding and scholarship opportunities that are fake accommodation scams, which are usually directed at students that already have a legitimate offer and have been online looking for accommodation at their global destination. And then you also get fake offers or too good to be true admission policies, fake offer in the form of just an unsolicited offer from another university internationally, or, admission policies that seem to be too low. And usually they will masquerade as having preferential criteria for students of color or students from the African continent. And then lastly, we also see visa or immigration scams where a student would have a legitimate offer. They come in country and then a couple of months down the line, all of a sudden there's something wrong, apparently something wrong with their visa, and they need to pay a fee or else risk deportation. So this is at a high level some of the most popular ones that we've picked up in recent years.
And it's so unfortunate that, the world that we live in has become, what it is, where everything that you do always comes with the downside. And you spoke about like the visa, the immigration fraud, but also one that is so evidently out there is to pay your fees up front. That I can never understand. How then do you start paying for your fees upfront when you're not even sure how you're going to, to start your education? Is there means and ways to maybe investigate when it comes to that?
Oh, absolutely. There are three simple things, really, that you can have a look at. The first thing is that you need to trust your gut. If something feels off, it usually is. And in my experience working in higher education and having exposure to these scams, most, if not all of the people that are found to be victims of such scams had a bit of a thing to say, this doesn't seem right, but because you are desperate for an opportunity, there's nothing available locally, you are likely to then fall for such scams. So number one, to trust your gut. But over and above trusting your gut, if you've got feelings of shame to talk about an opportunity with your friends or family, you feel that they might look down on it. Again, with social engineering, they word their activity and their emails in such a way that they would isolate you so that you don't look for additional information that might prove that such scams are actually exactly that, scams. So if the offer that you have on the table comes with an urgency for you to pay a specific fee, pay upfront, or else you would lose your job. So if there's an element of urgency and sometimes paired with an element of loss or threat that you might lose your position, almost always it's your red flag to say you need to take a step back. So the first thing would be really to trust your gut. And then number two, over and above trusting your gut, verify this information. I almost want to say do not trust any information that is unsolicited. If you didn't ask for it, just gets sent to you. Do not even click on any links. Don't call any numbers that's on that email. Rather go out of the email, look on Google and search for your own information. Go to embassies, search the web, contact Department of Higher Education and Training. Whatever you do, act on that information and verify it first. And then lastly, it will be a matter of reporting.
Let's hold the last thought because I need to just cross over to our, for a commercial break. I'm speaking to Tumi Nkosi, education expert, and we're talking about the scams that, that we encounter, especially when we want to go and study overseas and we're finding information, or you want to pay for an institution that says it's offering this and that, and you find that you've been scammed. What has been your experience, if at all, and maybe you overcame? 086 000 2032 is the number to call, or you can send us a voice note on 061 410 410 7.
It's all about fresh fish and vibrant flavors on the Tastemaster SA this Tuesday evening at 7:30 on SABC2 as our top four visit the Hout Bay Harbour for a crash course in seafood the old school way. Then reel in a gourmet seafood takeaway experience of their own. Who will sink and who will swim into the semi-finals? The Tastemaster SA, Tuesday evenings at 7:30, repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. on SABC2.
The Black Queens are chasing maximum points, but the Twiga Stars have a different plan about this contest. The continent is divided into two, the West and the East. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Ghana versus Tanzania on Monday, 14 July at 8:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Okay, I think let me start off. I've just received a text. It says, "Good day, Bertha. You cannot scam someone who can read. You can scam someone who can read because mostly they are not taught to interpret facts or context, especially when the information shows investment. They are influenced by the word money and riches, but they didn't read between the lines. Same like wrestling moves. If you cannot tell the difference, you will believe it. Interpretation of information and research is very important." That's Brian Mabaya from Protea Glen. It is so important, and also that's a true fact that, we have to read, but sometimes something just comes across so legit that you really believe. Like with immigration, I was talking about with Canada, those immigration officers that send you all those, that flood you with that information, it looks so legit. And even when you call, you are answered and they speak to you on the other line. It just becomes so difficult then to identify that here I am being scammed. To me?
Absolutely. And I think you mentioned one way that you can get scammed with the barrage of emails that look legitimate. But in my case, I was also nearly scammed. And how they did it was that they were incredibly sophisticated. There were no emails. I saw the ad on social media, and again, nobody goes on social media with their guard up, right? You go there to connect with friends and family. So I was targeted on social media, clicked the ad, and for 2 years, I would keep getting served this ad. And by so doing, then they're driving the narrative or the impression that this is a legitimate school that has been there for a long time, because for 2 years, they've sort of been building an online relationship with me by serving me these ads. So then you immediately, by social manipulation, you start thinking that it's a legitimate organization. So yes, I can say that, there are things that you can do to avoid being scammed, but being scammed is not a social class type of activity. It affects all of us, both people that cannot read and even people that like to think that they're sophisticated, just like me, who nearly got scammed of $8,000 simply by social media engineering and then building a relationship with me on social media. No contact details, no emails. They are being very sophisticated and increasingly so.
And then there's another type of being scammed, enrolling in unaccredited institutions, which can lead to worthless qualifications, derailing academic and career goals, while stolen personal information risks identity theft and a whole lot more.
Oh, absolutely. And I think registering for unaccredited qualifications, that is something, again, as your listener has rightly said, that you can easily weed out through simple research, right? But the type of scam that we're talking about is not something that you can easily see. It's things they impersonate certain universities. They train you on social media so that you can trust them, even through email. So they build relationships with you over some time so that they can scam you. So we're talking about a different level of sophistication where, again, with a good amount of research, you can get away with it. But if you've seen this university or supposed university on your social media for a long time and they've been targeting you, your chances that you're going to do a thorough job of research becomes less and less likely.
And I think let's highlight and also emphasize the due diligence, what needs to be done, so that whoever is listening and maybe they are taking that journey of wanting to go abroad and study. So many times we are told that look for accreditation. How do you look for accreditation? Is there a specific way, easier way, a step that you need to take to look for accreditation for an institution?
Oh, absolutely. I think the first step would be, if it's a local institution, and again, be careful, be it it's a local institution or abroad. If it's a local institution, you can go to the Department of Higher Education and Training. They've got a database that is registered under the South African Qualifications Authority, where you can check for local accreditation of both programs, qualifications, as well as institution. There are similar organizations abroad, and the best way to contact these organizations would be to identify where your university of choice is located, the country, and then call the High Commission or the embassy in South Africa and get them to get you in contact with them, give you the right information as to who you can contact to verify if a qualification is accredited. Most importantly, not only accredited, but where on the NQF, the South African National Qualifications Framework, does it sit? Are you going to do an honors degree when it's actually at a bachelor's level qualification? So to make sure that what you are hoping to get is in line with our own local standards, and also to verify that it is a legitimate organization and not a scam organization. So DHEAD, through SAQA, South African Qualifications Authority in South Africa, the embassies are your first point of call if you're looking at an international organization, institution, college, or university.
And now we do have online education. Yet, sometimes going backwards, as in, you would have a physical building, mortar and brick, and you would know, okay, this particular institution, just giving an example, if you say Wits University, you know where it is, you know where it's located, you know the location. Now that we've got online education, how can one then verify if it's legit? Is there a special way to check if it's legit?
Not necessarily. So online qualifications follow the same stringent quality assurance processes as qualifications that are offered in hybrid format, part-time qualifications as well as full-time qualifications. So any institution, for example, in South Africa that offers an accredited qualification, and I'm taking higher certificate right up to doctorate, have to be registered with the Department of Higher Education and Training and have their qualifications uploaded on the South African Qualifications Authority. The same holds true for international qualifications, because remember, if you're going to do a master's degree online through another institution abroad, it has to be at the same level locally. So it has to be accredited. So there is an accreditation requirement, whether it is an online qualification, both locally as well as internationally. Again, there is no special way for you to verify an online qualification, because they all follow the same stringent quality assurance processes, both locally and internationally. They cannot be offered unless if the institution itself is accredited and the qualifications also are accredited to be offered by that particular institution. So the same process of checking will be exactly similar locally as well as internationally, regardless of how the qualification is offered.
Tumi Nkosi, education expert, chatting to us. Thank you so much for making time. Studying abroad, just do your due diligence. It's just gone after 2:30, time for news.
Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, the Director General of South Africa's Treasury, Dr. Duncan Bitterse, has told delegates at the G20 Finance Working Group meeting that the virtual talks held last week were constructive. Senior officials from G20 national treasuries and central banks are meeting at Zimbali near Balito on the north coast of Durban over the next 2 days. The South African Social Security Agency has so far flagged about 210,000 grant beneficiaries who are not eligible to receive social grants, and India's chief executive has warned against premature conclusions after the publication of a preliminary report into last month's deadly crash in Ahmedabad. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends, and welcome to today's joyful edition of Kids Corner. Today we're talking all about the things that make us feel happy, those little moments, special people, and fun activities that bring smiles to our faces. What's something that always makes you smile no matter what? Who's someone that makes you feel happy just by being around them, and why? Is there a special place like a park, your room, or even grandma's house where you feel the happiest? What hobby or activity makes you feel excited and full of joy when you do it? Can you think of something that simply made you happy today? And most importantly, why do you think it's important to know the things that make you happy? Well, let's hear from some of our friends while you think about your answers and share them with someone next to you.
Hi, my name is Mbalenhle Zulu. Something that always makes me smile is seeing my family happy. My closest friends make me feel happy when I'm around them. Reason being, we get to catch up on things we can't tell each other because of being busy. Being at home makes me the happiest. The hobby that makes me feel like this is netball. Something that made me happy was my mom going back to something she really loved and my brother being able to make money of his own. It is important so that you surround yourself with those things and you end up staying happy.
Greetings, my name is Praise Zeba. The thing that makes me happy is my mom because she always finds a way to entertain me, whether I'm in a bad or a good mood, and I feel happy around her. A special place that I love is home because that's where I get to spend most of the time with my family. And the activity we like doing as a family, we like watching movies, sometimes making jokes and memes. And the thing that made me happy today is that I was playing around with my peers. We had sports, we were playing against each other, which is soccer, athletics, and netball, and I enjoyed it because we didn't have any fights. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alanda Mzobe. I am 11 years old. Something that always makes me smile no matter what, it's when I'm meeting my best friends. Someone that makes me feel happy when I'm around them are my best friends and my close friends because they take care of me and make sure I stay confident. If there's a special place like park or my room, the place that I feel more happiest is when I go to a dance studio. An activity or hobby that makes me feel excited and happy to do is when I am dancing. Something that made me happy today was when my mom bought me a present. I think it is important to know things that make you happy. By understanding what makes you happy, you can make informed decisions about how you spend your time, energy, and resources, and ultimately leading to more satisfying and enjoyable life to enjoy. Thank you, everyone.
Hello guys, my name is Prophet King David Ikena Jabulani Eze and I'm 11 years old. Yes, there's something that makes me always smile no matter what, which is going to church. As it says in the Bible, Psalm 122 verse 1. I was glad when the Lord said, let us go to church. My brother is someone that makes me happy when I'm around him. It's because I'm always with him. I spend most of the day with him. We are together. We are bros. The activity or hobby that makes me feel happy and excited when I do it is playing the drums at church. Come to think of it, that the thing that is simple that made me happy today is watching this Christian animation guy that is called Heron Morris. The reason it's important that I know things that make me happy is so that I might be asked that what makes me happy. I can tell them. I need to know them so that anytime I feel down, I can just do them. Thank you. God bless you.
Hello, beautiful people of Mzansi. My name is Lubanzi Shongwane. I think something that always makes me smile no matter what is a beautiful sunny day. So you can imagine how I feel during winter. I'm not saying I hate winter, but it's not my favorite season. And there's just something about the sun that just says today is going to be a good day. Like, I don't know, like when the sun is out, I have no problems at all because I know that it's going to be nice and hot. I don't have to worry about wearing tons and tons of layers, and I can breathe. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but when the sun is out, the air seems so fresh and I just get happy instantly. I think my family and my friends make me very, very happy no matter what. And obviously, you know, at times we do argue and at times we do have disagreements, but all the time I'm around them, I will always crack a smile, or I will always be laughing. I will always have the best time ever. And I think that's just because they're good people, you know, and I love surrounding myself with them because, like I said, I am never ever angry when I'm with them. I think a special place that I really like to be at, where I'm happy most of the time, is my room. My room is the most sacred thing to me because it is where I can be alone with my own thoughts, where I can do whatever I want. I think another nice place that I like to be in is anywhere with nature, anywhere with trees, anywhere that is beautiful and green. I just feel very serene when I'm in areas like that, and I really, really love them. I think an activity or hobby that makes me feel excited when I'm doing it is, honestly, I like being very active because I am not an iPad kid or someone who is always on their phone constantly. I like to do things that are fun. So whatever that is, whether that's skipping or doing whatever it is, but I just like to be busy and active. But nothing involving running. I do not like running at all. I think something that made me really, really happy today was waking up, and it's a beautiful sunny day. There is a little bit of wind today, but you know, I'm still very excited, and my mom and I did some shopping, and I love shopping. I think it's very important to know the things that make you happy so that you know what makes you feel happy, makes you feel relaxed, you know, so that you can keep doing it, so that you can keep being happy and relaxed.
Thank you, friends. It's always great to hear from you. Now let's talk about something really special today. Happiness. There are things in life that always makes us smile, even on a cloudy day. It might be a favorite song, a warm hug, a silly joke, or a pet doing something funny. These little joys light up our hearts and remind us how beautiful life can be. Everyone has someone who brings happiness just by being around them. Maybe it's a parent, a best friend, a grandparent, or even a teacher. These people make us feel seen, safe, joyful, and their presence can turn an ordinary moment into something magical. Many of us have a special happy place, like a cozy room, grandma or grandpa's garden, or a quiet corner in the library. These are the spaces where our hearts feel calm and our smiles come naturally. There are also hobbies and activities that fill us with excitement and joy. Things like drawing, playing soccer, dancing, singing, reading, or riding a bike. Doing what we love helps us feel confident, relaxed, and proud of ourselves. Sometimes it's the simple things that bring the most happiness, like enjoying a warm meal, seeing a friend, laughing at something silly, or finishing homework early. These small moments often become the brightest parts of our day. Knowing what makes you happy is very important. It helps us take care of our feelings and stay connected to the people and activities that lift us up. When we understand what brings us joy, we can do more of it, especially when we're feeling down or overwhelmed. Being happy doesn't mean everything in life is perfect. It means choosing to notice the good, the kind, and the beautiful around us. It means sharing smiles, spending time with those we love, and doing things that feel good to our hearts. So go on ahead. Chase the things that make you smile, and never forget how important your happiness is. Until next time, keep smiling, keep shining, and remember, happiness lives inside of you. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. Join us for this year's fundraiser, Jazz for Young People concert at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July. This unique event, perfect for families, is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. So bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring the Parktown Girls Band, Tshwane School of Music, The Real DJ Zandi, Kutlotaro Jazz Band, and many others. Tickets are just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12 via Quicket. Jazz for Young People is proudly brought to you by Standard Bank Joy of Jazz.
They both have a rich history of glory. Amakosi tackle the Porcupine Warriors.
This is as good as it gets.
This is the Toyota Cup.
The game you've been looking forward to on your football calendar.
Giants refuse to fall.
The big game.
The big game. On Saturday, 26 July at 2:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus across the entire African continent and SABC One. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport in proud partnership with Kaizer Chiefs Football Club.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And joining me is the Nimble Agri-Farm Explorer for Mandela Day, sponsor 67 young agri-leaders. The excursion is a sample version of the Nimble Explorer program. So just to give you a bit of background or insight, the Mandela Day, which is 26 July 2025, the Nimble Agri-Farm Explorer is inviting the public and corporate partners to help sponsor 67 children to participate in their hands-on agricultural learning program. And to join me, I've got Leemong Kosi, project manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me, Bertha.
So let's talk about this concept, how it all began, what prompted it.
Well, what prompted this initiative is that I believe that the future of food security in South Africa is equipping young children and sowing the interest early so that we do not lose them at a later time where we find ourselves right now with a skill shortage in the agricultural sector. So this initiative was to say, is there a way that we could buy time and leverage on early exposure and development of young children in agriculture?
Why sponsor a child?
This will enable us to be able to reach children in underserviced communities, to be able to have the exposure to facilities that they might not necessarily have access to in their school platforms.
Okay, so walk us through the process. How then does it work?
Okay. So we are reaching out to partners to be able to assist us to carry this work. You would then sponsor a child, then we will collaborate. We are already in partnerships with NPOs where we get these kids to be part of the Nimble Explorer Day. Then on the day of the excursion, we will be going to Willow Feather Farm in Irene, and the kids will have an opportunity to plant something that they will be able to take home with them and learn what it takes to take care of a seed to germination and until it is harvest ready, as well as learn a bit at introductory level how to take care of animals.
And there's what you call hands-on farming activities. Well, you've just highlighted some of them, which is planting, harvesting, and you also have animal care.
Yes.
Do you have a specific age group that you're targeting?
We are targeting children that are in the age group of 6 to 12 years old, as we believe that their brain elasticity at that point allows them to absorb information that they can carry into their teenage years.
So when you say sponsoring, 26 is around the corner. It's not too far from today.
Yes.
If I'm a corporate, I'm listening to this conversation, I would like to participate. Who do they talk to? What do they do? And how then do they know how they are contributing to the program?
Okay. We do have reporting tools that we will be using in terms of reporting on the funds allocated for this project. We would ask that they would reach out to us on info@nimblepli.com to express their interest in collaborating and partnering with us on this Mandela Day initiative.
And how many children are you expecting?
67.
So out of the 67,
yes,
are they from specific regions, specific areas, or it's any child? And how then do they get to the farm?
As I have mentioned, that we are partnering with other NPOs. So the NPOs will help us facilitate the transportation of the children to get to the farms. We do have a registration process for indemnity purposes where the parents of the children will give then permission for the children to participate in the program.
Okay. Let's take a look. Hypothetically, it's a Bertha. Then she's got these 5 kids that she would like to bring on board. She's not a corporate per se, she's just an individual.
Yes.
How does she do this?
Same process. Kindly reach out to us on info@nimblepli.com to express your interest, and we will then give you the registration form and allocation and contribution details, our banking details, or a payment link for you to contribute.
All right. So now we've got that covered.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
It's farming, it's planting, it's the whole works. Paint a picture for me the whole day, maybe just touching highlight on, the activities that will happen that particular day.
Okay. So every Nimble Explorer is structured to create an experience that will last. We aim to leave a lasting experience. We do this through experiential learning. So it's a very stimulated day. That is why it is not really open to children younger than 6, as they get tired and don't really have capacity to keep up with the day. So we always start with icebreakers. Then we start with an educational workshop where we explain what will be happening and how it links up to the activities that we will be having. Then we break the age groups into 6 to 10 and then 11 to 12 in their own group, so that the experience is age appropriate. And then we have the planting activities and have an opportunity where the kids have a chance to feed the animals and observe other activities on the farm, because it's not just like a kid's farm, it's an actual farm. So they can see other adults at work on the farm. This is also a good representation for children having like a role model reference point of what they might desire to do.
Okay. And what do they get after the whole experience? Do they get certificates? And also from then on, if they want to participate next year, what do they have to do? Do they just have to go through the same process?
Yes, as we have mentioned in our proposal, that this is a sample version of the whole program, which lasts for 2 years. So they would have to enroll at the beginning of next year to be part of the full Nimble Explorer program, which includes more than just the agricultural aspect.
And how will the project actually contribute to the broader goals of the Mandela Day?
Education is one of the broader goals of Mandela Day. And we believe that experiential learning is no less than formal education, because it has been proven that children absorb more from experience and active learning than just reading words and writing down. So we believe that through this, we would have contributed to the education broad goals of the Mandela Day initiative.
I'm speaking to Lemo Nkosi, project manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute, about contributing towards the Mandela Day. And we are just and she's explaining and giving us an elaborate learning experience for children. Let's just take a small break. We'll be back.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Champions need motivation above and beyond winning. South Africa, show your love and support for the WAFCON defending champions by Banyana. Witness the Capt Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024 from 5 to 26 July 2025 on SABC Plus, S3, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And I have my guest in the studio, Lemon Kosi, project manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute, and they're doing quite some great work. So South Africa faces a critical skills shortage in agriculture and holding immense potential for food security and economic growth. And the Nimble Agri-Farm Explorer has introduced something unique, and my guest is actually able to expand on the uniqueness of what they are doing. So Lemo, maybe let's just then go back to what your organization, what it is all about and how it all began.
Okay. So Nimble Playful Learning Institute was established to bridge a disparity gap in education, because you find that there are kids who school in rurals and townships who don't have access to facilities, exposure excursions, because of the limitations of their school setting in their community. So we are trying to say, is there a way to bring private level education exposure experiences to children that are in township schools and rural schools by making the programs affordable, so that we can be able to reach more children, as I think that it's a disadvantage and an injustice for children that come from families in lower income levels to be excluded by just the economic gap. That means we are just having this vicious cycle of people that will continuously be dependent if we don't equip them properly, regardless of which household they came from. So that's where it came. It came out of that frustration to say, is there something that we can do here? Because there is a real need to equip children for life. Because that's what education is about. It's not just about the knowledge that you read in books, but it's about being versatile to be able to adapt to the ever-changing world that we live in. And at Nimble, we then designed this Nimble Explorer program. Agriculture is just but one of the exposure pillars that we have. We have financial education in there. We have AI and technology in there, robotics education. We also have arts and culture and sciences in there. So our goal is to broaden the school experience for the young child early on, so that when they come into their teenage years, they don't find themselves wondering what is it that they want to do, as it's not rare that you would find an adult today in their 30s saying, I don't know my passion, or I just recently found my passion. And what brings us to that point is lack of early exposure. So that's how Nimble was started.
And on the 26th of July, how much do you intend to raise? I'm sure you've got some form of a goal, but if you exceed it, that would be excellent.
Oh, that would be great, because that would allow us to reach more children. For the 26th of July, we are aiming to raise 16,500 to sponsor 67 kids from the township to be able to attend the Explorer.
I've been to the farm before,
Yes.
It's an amazing farm. The way there's milk. Is it milking? What do they call it when you milk? They make cheese. They do all kinds of things.
Yes. At this farm, there's even an opportunity for the kids to pony ride.
So for more information, where do we go? Where do we find you? And the closing date as well?
Okay. The closing date is the 20th of July to reach out to us and express your interest in your collaboration with us for your organization or as an individual. Per child, the contribution is $250 to be able to reach our goal. 67 kids, $250 per child. And to reach us for more information, info@nimblepli.com or 061-971-4762.
That's Lemunkosi, Project Manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute, joining us in the studio. And once again, to donate, you can contribute via payment link, bank details. And of course, you can spread the word, volunteer. You can join them on the 26th of July to assist with the facilitating activities, nurturing childhood dreams. And all they're asking for, $250 per child. And $250 these days, it's not much.
It's the price of a takeaway meal.
So true, if not even less. If not less. Thank you so much for coming through. And do let us know after the 26th how it all goes. Only wishing you the very best. I'm just saying, let's put it out into the universe. Raise more than 16, double it.
Thank you. We will gladly receive that. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you to everybody that is already considering our request.
Thank you. Anyway, just to recap, because the show is coming to an end, 2 hours is so short. I'm looking at my producers and my technical producer. Can we take Ashraf's 1 hour? No. Ashraf will not allow that. Just to recap, if you've missed the 2 hours of the full circle, the first hour, #Work Monday, a look into special leave and when it is most appropriate to put in place. And we spoke to Ntabiseng Dubazana, Director, Dubazana Attorneys, Mike Bagren, Member of Parliament in the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour. Also, we spoke to Ravi Naidu, CEO, the Youth Employment Service, and explaining how the recent integration of YES into the South African Renewable Energy Master Plan will benefit the youth. And of course, Tumi Nkosi, that was before 2 o'clock. Well, it was just after 2, education expert, and we're talking about studying abroad and just paying more attention and having more due diligence when it comes to applying and making sure that you are scam proof. And I've just spoken to Lemon Nkosi, Project Manager at Nimble Playful Learning Institute, and exploring for Mandela Day, sponsoring 67 young agri-leaders, the excursion, an example, and a sample. It's actually a sample version of the Nimble Explorer program. And we'll be chatting to them, hopefully sometime next year, maybe after the program itself, to see the progress. But otherwise, from the team, my technical producer, my content producers, it's been fantastic. Let's do this again sometime soon. Thank you, Bertha, and the team on the top stories. G20 national treasuries discuss debt restructuring and over 200,000 SASSA beneficiaries flagged for SAFM News. I am Ondelambana, and a very good afternoon. The Director General of South Africa's Treasury, Dr. Duncan Pieterse, has told delegates at the G20 Finance Working Group meeting that the virtual talks held last week were constructive. Senior officials from G20 national treasuries and central banks are meeting at Zimbali near Balito on the north coast of Durban over the next 2 days. They are laying the groundwork for a meeting by ministers of finance and central bank governors later in the week. Pieterse says one of the issues under discussion is the restructuring of debt globally towards attaining global sustainable development goals.
We'll start the session with an update from the Council of Europe Development Bank, the CEB, on the Multilateral Development Bank's monitoring and reporting framework, which is a critical tool for tackling the implementation of the G20 MDB roadmap, as it enables MDBs to assess how they are working better as a system, enhancing their effectiveness and maximizing developmental impact.
Dr. Bertha says this working group meeting also includes a pandemic response simulation.
This will be followed by a pandemic response financing simulation exercise that will be facilitated by the World Bank. And the objective of this exercise is to simulate a coordinated pandemic response financing scenario, enabling participants to explore practical mechanisms for mobilizing and deploying resources rapidly and effectively during a global health emergency.
The South African